chair is against the walls. The chair is against the walls. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
And welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. We come to you live every night at midnight Eastern. That's 9 Pacific for about an hour each night. We do 3 gun-related topics each night, different topics throughout the week. We run it live on YouTube and simulcast it over at gunchannels.com. Tonight we are simulcasting it on 2 YouTube channels because we got our YouTube live back over on the Gun Websites channel. So thanks to everybody who's joining us live over there. Of course, we're also going live over on our Daily Gun Show channel where we archive the daily podcast. We take the best of audios, we post them over on iTunes. So we appreciate everybody who listens to the show live or in the future, especially those that leave us feedback out there on the different platforms you might listen to it on. That helps the show get recommended to more listeners, and that's one of our goals. So we really do appreciate it. We've got hosts. I got Bob jumping in from Canada. Thanks for joining.
Hey, glad to be here. I'm not seeing us up on YouTube, though. It says it starts live in 118 minutes.
So let's find out.
Hey, glad to be here.
Oh, it's working. So maybe just refresh over there. It might be glitching on you. But yeah, I did set the times incorrectly. I sent them for midnight our time. I should have sent them for 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. I have to go in there and edit that. All right. So it is episode 490. It's Friday, so we're going to be talking gun tech and the gun business. We will be doing gunsmithing tools, DIY gunsmithing tools. We're going to talk about SHOT Show from the era of 2015 to 2017, the years that Bob's been going. And then Saturday night specials if we get time to. We got no Jimmy tonight, so I don't know what's going on. If somebody out there wants to jump in, we could have a special guest host, I guess. Otherwise, before we dig in, is there anything to talk about from shows earlier today or anything that happened overnight? Anything going on with you?
No, there were some kind of interesting shows on that I met. Speaking of SHOT Shows, so somebody had a show going tonight, High Desert Pioneer, that I met at SHOT Show. He had a live chat going, and Tony from Vegas was on it, so I thought that was kind of interesting.
High Desert Tactical or High Desert Pioneer?
Desert Tactical, maybe.
The guy from Oregon.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So that was over on the YouTube or what?
Yeah, that was on YouTube.
Oh, snap. We just got a $5 super chat. I forgot what super chats are like. You know, that's like the 4th super chat I've ever got. So appreciate that. It might be the 6th, actually. But usually encourage people to jump over to Patreon if you want to support the show, or if you want something in return more tangible. We have a store, yourwebsites.com. But that is pretty cool. Thanks for the super. We are cheap and frugal, and we're running on a low budget, so that very much is appreciated. And that was the Falling Hammer, dude out of California. I think he's still in California, but he showed up at the Arizona Second Amendment rally with everybody when we were in Phoenix. So amazingly, we have more people watching on the gun channel. It's on the gun website side. What do you know? 160,000 people being alerted means more people than our channel over there. Hey, we should mention that, I guess, since we're starting out the show here. Since this is our first time back on Gun Websites in a while, we do the daily podcast every single night. Me and Bob have been doing this. I guess we're on episode 490, so we're about to hit the 500th episode of our show. That's every single weekday we've been doing this. And we have a channel for that. It's dailygunshow.com. Well, Daily Gun Show on YouTube. And we'd appreciate anybody who's interested in helping out to subscribe to that channel. As you know, YouTube's going through its changes. And I think we don't even have 1,000 subs over there. So we'd appreciate anybody that's got the interest to jump over and sub over there.
Yeah, for sure. But cool. It's too bad like the 500 show didn't come up and during SHOT Show and then
during SHOT Show.
SHOT Show, yeah, would have been cool.
We still got the opportunity for you to be in the U.S. for that show. We still got. I don't know, it's 10 days, maybe not.
Yeah, not really. It's a couple weeks.
2 weeks.
Oh, it'd be pretty tough.
Close, but maybe. So anyway, we're going to get into the show, and I'll see if anybody else there wants to jump in. Nobody's even suggested one, showing any interest at all. So I guess we won't be we won't be discouraged by that. We'll move on. Actually, we'll have this queued up so that whenever we're feeling sad about it, we can just play this for a little while.
Just the two of us. We can make it if we try.
We don't need Jimmy. So we'll get into gun tech, DIY gunsmithing tools. So first thing I think of when I think of DIY gunsmithing tools is a roll of duct tape. Where else are we going to go with that?
Roll of duct tape. I would also say some JB cold weld.
Yeah, that's a good one. You mean the putty, where you mix up the 2-part putty and it hardens into a part?
Yeah, and it hardens into like steel.
Mm-hmm. I started playing that with that when I was a little kid. I seen somebody do a project in a magazine, probably, where they just mixed up some of the 2-part putty, squished it onto like a screwdriver, probably, or something dumb, and then I stuck that on a bunch of my BB guns and gave them like ergonomic handles, ergonomic pistol grips. I don't think my dad was super happy, but they fit my kid hand pretty good.
Yeah, no, that JB Coldwell was cool stuff. I knew people used it to fix like lawnmower motors. They'd crack a block and they'd use JB Coldwell to stick it back together. And
but gunsmithing, Island is saying,
well, if you chop a double barrel down, I guess for whatever reason, especially if it's ribbed, right. You got the space in between, and put a little steel wool down in there and some JB Weld and smooth it on up. Once you get everything square, assuming you've chopped it correctly. Yeah.
You're talking like that gap to the double barrel.
Yeah, where there's a gap. If it's got a rib on it, then it's got that gap in between the barrels there. It looks all funky on the end, and stick you some just a little steel wool down in there to kind of give it some structure to sit on, the JB Weld to sit on till it gets till it hardens. That way you don't have to fill the whole thing with JB Weld, of course. And and then just sand her down or smooth her down once it's done. And she looks pretty good if you do that.
So Z is saying on the YouTube side, for some reason he's not jumping into the chat, sight pusher. And I've seen plenty of people just take a big piece of that square tube steel and drill a couple of holes and then like weld a bolt and thread it. And those work. I mean, they're not as fancy as the ones that are made by somebody, but those can work.
Well, you can make even the fancy ones.
Each time as you want to put into it. Yeah, I mean, you look at one that you buy. I mean, it's just a bunch of parts you put together. Yeah, they're pretty.
I mean, if you're looking at, so I'm trying to think of the one I'm thinking of now, as far as the handgun sight pusher or whatever. It's like $170 or $80, and I'm thinking, wow, you could go to the hardware store and build that. Way cheaper than $170 or $80.
But that said, I've seen some of the nice ones, and they are well made. They're welded nice. They're gonna last forever. They finish them, they paint them or something, so they're gonna last for a long time.
Yeah.
All right, one of the DIY tools, though, stuff that you can, I don't know, fixtures or something. What about those ammo loaders? Anybody ever tried to make one of those, or is there plans out there to just route your own with a router?
The wooden ones, there's some plans out there for those. Those aren't too terribly difficult. You can do those actually without a router. You can do those with a jigsaw. Just use multiple pieces of wood. Like multiple pieces of plywood, like a 3/4 inch sheet of plywood, and then use a couple of 1/4 inch. And then once you screw them together, or nail them together, or glue them together, or whatever, they work pretty good. I've seen that done.
All right, so Bull is saying magnets. I think that could be handy.
Oh yeah. I tell you what, I've got magnets on sticks and ropes and all kinds of things, and a lot of times where magnets come in handy is if you haven't swept the floor in a while or something and you lose a screw. You can sometimes it's hard to see, it's hard to find. You can take that if you've got a larger magnet. I've got a flat magnet about probably 8 inches round, and I put it on I guess it's for paint rollers, I guess, but it's got like this articulating swivel thing on it. Anyway, fashioned it to that where it's got like a handle. You don't have to bend over or nothing. And you can take that and just sweep that across the floor, and it'll go dink, and you found your screw. So
some of the part kits or parts mats that are out there will have them built in, or somebody will just put them on there. But if you're even on your range bag or something, keeping a magnet, maybe stowed in a pocket or something, the magnetism goes right through. So now if you're disassembling something, you just have a place you can put it where it's going to be magnetized. Sure. And not lose track of it if it's windy or whatever.
Yeah. There's a company here, and they made I don't know for what purpose they made them, but they made these little plexiglass designs, and they have magnets in them. Some type of a medical thing, I want to say, but anyway, they were a customer of mine, and they actually cut one out that looks like a Beretta 92 out of plexiglass, and it's got, I don't know, 8 or 10 little magnets mounted in it, and they got me that to put on my bench, and so if I'm dealing with little small screws or parts or whatever, I can kind of throw them over there on that, and they don't go nowhere. Honestly, I don't use it much, but it's kind of cool. So are we talking about making our own tools? That kind of what we're talking about?
Well, I think DIY, maybe modifying, but yeah, I mean, I think of what else in the gun realm that I've modified. Because
I made, you've got if you're doing AR-15s, that takedown pin, putting the detent, takedown spring and detent can be a pain in the rear. And I actually built a little tool for it. Ended up working for the safety spring and all that on a Rigger 1022 as well. Come to find out later on, but I built that out of a little dowel rod before I even figured out there was a tool for such a job. So
that makes me about for black powder and for my little cannons, I've used 9mm cases and kind of with a little piece of wire, turn them into like a little scoop for loading the cannon.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Especially with black guys in their little accessory kit, or what do they call that? What do they call that little kit? But anyway, in there, there's be out there a lot.
Possible bag?
Possibles? Is that what it is? Anyway, in there, there's like a lot of times those guys will improvise, get the most bang out of each of their tools.
Well, I've got I bought a bunch of reloading equipment one time and got to going through it, and this guy had various different cases, and they were cut to length, and they had copper wire like you're talking about wrapped around them and then twisted into a little handle, like a little dipper. And come to find out, he custom cut, so he didn't even have to weigh his powder when he was reloading. He was using smokeless, but he had a little dipper for every load he had, and all he had to do was dip it, level and pour it, and he was good to go. So yeah, making your own little dipper set, that definitely something you could do.
All right, well, we're going to keep moving along as far as for time, but again, our topics here aren't necessarily take you through a conclusion every time. It's just to get the ball rolling. Maybe it's something to talk about at the gun show this weekend, or something to talk about at the gun shop with somebody, or in your own show. If you're creating content out there, take any of these topics and run with them. That's the whole concept. So we'll move into the gun biz, and we're going to talk about SHOT Show from 2015 to 2017. And before we do, we'll take a break between the first and second segment of the show each day. Feature one of the members over at Gun Channels. Talked about Gun Channels before. It's a community we built back in 2013. It's completely run by its members ever since then. And because of that, we'd like to feature a member each day. And today we're featuring somebody. This whole week has had a theme. I don't know if anybody's picked up the theme yet. I think it's pretty obvious. But today it's Pink Panther. Pink's been around Gun Channels, I believe, since the beginning, and been doing the live chats now for years. He's gone beyond that, and is actually on the road with Marco as we speak, probably eating some kind of fancy steak that's aged for months or something. And they're hanging out in Vegas, getting ready to go to some of the shoots and the gun show, and then eventually SHOT Show next week. And Pink's been doing that under Gun Channels, and he'll additionally, he has a channel over on Gun Channels where if you have a suggestion or something you'd like to see a picture taken of or a review of or something, you can request it. And he's done pretty well in the past on helping with or fulfilling those. So yeah, he's doing all kinds of good stuff for Gun Channels, making it the place that it is. Really appreciate all his efforts.
Well, I think the theme is pretty easy. I mean, if it's what I think it is anyway.
See if anybody's
Oh, you're talking theme. Yeah, okay. But yeah, Pink.
well, what we had,
I like Pink. I met him.
what the different people
He's
had.
a fun guy.
Well, let's get into talking about SHOT Show. So, Bob, you hung out with him last year. Was that his first year at SHOT Show?
I think so. Yeah, I think last year was his first year. Yeah.
But that was your second year, right? So you started in 15. Wait,
First year I was undercover though. I was stealth
and then
checking out the.
so, but you started going in 15. No, wait, you started coming out here in 15. You went to 16 and then 17. Right.
No, I went.
So-
No, I went to 15, 16. Yeah.
No, this is 18. So you went last year, that's 17, and the year before that was 16. You came out here in 2018, but that was like December.
Yeah.
So Bob's
Right. Right. Yeah.
the last year was 17, and that's where Pink went for the first time, and that's when Hush just happened to be there for whatever, some family thing. What was that, day or two before SHOT? Maybe it's 2 days before SHOT, even 3 days. I think it was Saturday, right? And anyway, you guys got to meet up, and you had a long-standing theoretical debate on whether or not I don't know what the deal was, whether he could draw a knife before you could disarm him. I forget what it actually was, but anyway, it accumulated.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I
don't know what the original debate was.
the whole
But-
Gun Channel legends and everything, that it became this thing we had to do. So
Yeah, so Bob ended up putting on a pair of white coveralls, and Hosh got a Sharpie marker, and they proceeded to have a duel, karate fight in the parking lot of the trailer park, and we did it all live, and there's all kinds of video out there on that, I imagine. So that was 16.
Yeah.
That was introduction to SHOT Show.
Yeah, I challenge anyone to figure out where I cracked my rib during what part of that whole scenario.
Oh, good. I'm all tired for a long drive. Okay, so let's see. Watching some of the comments out there. We're watching the Gun Channel side. We're watching the YouTube side, and then now we're watching the Gun Website's YouTube side as well. So I've got 3 different chats I'm watching here. So thanks everybody who's watching tonight. And somebody asked, "What's the biggest reveal at SHOT Show this year?" That's a good question. We don't know, I guess, whatever might be revealed at SHOT Show. I don't think there's anything that's just been alluded to other than that Franklin Armory thing. So people usually let the cat out of the bag or whatever before SHOT Show so that people can anticipate it and plan for it, or they literally unveil it at SHOT Show. I don't think there's too much strategy in revealing it at SHOT Show. You don't see too many things revealed at the show anymore.
Well, I know I haven't gotten any emails. Every email I've gotten, and you get a ton of them, is they pretty much tell you what it is. I haven't gotten one that says, "Hey, come by our booth," or "Be prepared for us to reveal X, Y, or Z." So
Right. It's not a come find out. It's a come look at here, and here. Here's the bullet points.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. All right. So then, let's see, 2015 to 17, it was all in the sands, and it's been there for a while now, and there's no even anticipation of it going anywhere else, which is, I think it's kind of depressing. And it's interesting. Again, if you're talking to people about SHOT, you might ask, it's an easy question to ask them, how many shows you've been to? It's like any kind of Comic-Con or anything that happens on an annual basis. That's one way to kind of break the ice with somebody and to get some additional insight into the whole thing. Somebody who's been going for a long, long time. It's always interesting to hear their perspective on it. But yeah, I don't know. It's trying to keep optimistic, but it is. I don't like the venue, but it's definitely been in here and it's established. I guess the positives out of being in the same exact place every year with the same place, everybody in the same booths and the same floor plan is that it's easy to start remembering it and know where everything is. It takes something away from SHOT. You're going to experience something different than I've experienced in a while, and that's running around with your head cut off, like not knowing where anything is. It's been years since it's been like that, and that's actually kind of frustrating. It was a lot more fun trying to just walk around a corner and discovering something new. When you walk around the corner and it's the same booth that they've had for 5 years, boring. So occasionally they'll come up with a new booth, but those booths are costly. They do not come out with new booths unless it's a thriving economy. They don't come out with new booths very often anymore. And because know where they're going to be and it's established, there's no incentive. It's not like, oh, we don't know where we're going to be next year, so let's just come up with a new booth. Like, we know this booth works.
And there's a waiting list for booths too, right?
As far as like the floor plan, like, yeah, I believe you have to even get in line to even be in the show, and then you start out somewhere probably downstairs and then have to wait for people to quit going until rooms open up, or I don't know how it happens, but I believe there's some kind of seniority or hierarchy to where you get placed.
And most gun shows operate that same way. That's not a foreign concept.
Oh, heck no, especially a trade show, right? Yeah, and you'd kind of expect it. It helps to keep the big, units together and the smaller units together. It's actually more, it's the way you'd expect it to be laid out so that it's efficient, so that you can actually do things. Because otherwise it'd just be hodgepodge if everybody could just pay to be everywhere, I guess.
Yeah, and for the ones putting on the show, I know from the local perspective with local gun show promoters, when they keep that show roster full, they've got those guys that are loyal, that are there every time, and then, so that allows them to also plan and budget things and keep venues booked and things like that because they have those commitments. So
on the website side, Jack is asking. I said something before about if it moved to Salt Lake City. I don't have any insight on that. He's asking if I know anything more about that. That was just speculation, or from the places I've experienced, that would be a cool place to have it. But I haven't seen anything to indicate that they're ever going to move from where they're at. I don't know if it's if it's just lazy, like it's easy here, so we're doing it, or if it's difficult to put a SHOT Show places. It's possible that because of the nature of the show, it's the 5th largest show in Vegas, which makes it huge, so it can only go to certain places, and I don't think anybody would want to go to a SHOT Show in Chicago or LA or San Francisco or New York, right? Probably wouldn't work good in a big giant city like that, but it's possible that there's some issues with SHOT. I don't know. That'd be an interesting. I've actually tried to talk to NSSF before. I reached out this year to the people at the range day again I wanted to interview people and talk to people behind the scenes. I haven't officially gotten any kind of response, so they're either busy or they don't check the venues or the channels that I've contacted them. But that would be interesting to just talk to whoever's kind of been around for a while to kind of get an idea of what's it like to put on the 5th largest convention.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm sure part of the moving and or not moving and that sort of thing, the elephant in the room on that is money. I'm sure that.
Yeah, I'm sure financially it's a lot.
The city of Vegas. I'm sure there's some wheeling and dealing that's going on.
And then imagine something about Vegas. It is, if you're going to put it somewhere, it was okay in Orlando. It had a way better convention center, but I imagine for that was in 2007, 2009. We weren't really aware of the events that were going on, if there were as many, and we weren't invited to any of them, so we didn't know about them. And I would imagine that's a little tougher when it's not a convention city or a city that's designed for visitors the way Vegas is. So that's probably to take into consideration too. It's probably attractive to go to a Vegas because there's plenty of things to entertain and satisfy all the requirements of such a diverse group. True. And I imagine that size and whatever is there's these things have been around for a while. SHOT Show is always in January. You can't take I'm sure it's difficult to take the 5th largest convention or trade show and move it to March or November. You know what I mean? There's other shows in other places that require those big venues. I don't know. I'm just theorizing here, but
I think Vegas has just got such a good infrastructure for hosting these large conventions. I mean, that's really what their whole forte is.
Yeah.
I mean, gambling's kind of a side thing, but I mean, the whole thing is it's a destination that's made for
and a thing, really. You walk through a casino, but it's not even a thing. Nobody really themes their stuff with gambling. It's it's more of Vegas is more of, like you say, just a convention center now, more than gambling. There's gambling everywhere now too, so you don't need to go to Vegas to gamble anymore.
No, so the gambling in Vegas has now just become,
I think,
right?
I don't pay attention to the guns, so I'm not gonna be able to tell you much about the guns from 2015 to 17. I can probably, if I had to, remember a couple of them that came out during that time, but I do know that those are the years that Haas has kind of continued going and developed and changed his style. I got to experience that. I think those are the years Yankee's been going to SHOT. So I've got to experience his channel growth and his, whatever you call his brand or whatever he's doing. I don't know what you call him, a channel or a brand or what, but see his, channel and his
a force of nature.
Yeah, just the way that he handles SHOT has been interesting. There's quite a few people that I'm aware of that they've given me insight or asked questions or whatever. So I've had some insight to their, what do we call it? Like just experience at SHOT Show, and that's been really interesting over the years. And then a couple of the companies. Those years were difficult. There's a lot of apathy in there. Very little reason to. It was very little economic stimulus during all that time, and a lot of companies left. I would like to say came and gone, but really, the years before this is where I saw the new companies come up. I'm trying to think. I didn't see very many new companies sprout up during this era, 2015 to 17. But unfortunately, I have seen some shift in the floor plan there because companies quit going. And I don't think they're all out of business, but being able to afford the $5,000 floor space plus the probably tens of thousands of dollars in support to get your human beings there and your products and your displays and stuff. I don't know if it's worth it if if a lot of the companies, or some of the companies at least, I don't say a lot, but some of the companies, had to pass, and that's been interesting too. And then seeing the size of the booths differ over the years. It's not something that I've tracked specifically or anything, but it has been interesting. There's been a few companies that got larger, but even some of the big companies started to scale down. I think Gunbroker is one of the more interesting ones. If I would have known now, then what I know now, I would have been taking a picture of the Gunbroker booth over the years, because that's one that started out with like a picnic table and some lawn chairs, and they're like, "Hey, Gunbroker," and then it got to be a massive island, probably $50,000 worth of floor space with race cars and hot chicks handing out free swag, and then kind of scaled back to just all kinds of interesting things we could talk about off air. So that would be kind of neat to if SHOT Show would have the presence of mind to do that and archive some of those things over the years. Right. NSSF has an opportunity here. They don't look at it from that angle, from archiving the industry, but that's definitely something that I've seen change a little bit over the last few years.
Well, let me ask you this, and not to deviate from SHOT Show, but with the cost of SHOT Show, do you see some of the smaller manufacturers and stuff at, say, NRA, where they're able to make that show where they don't the NRA, or do they typically not show up to that one either?
Okay, so a small manufacturer, it depends on what they're doing. So if they're making like a metal product that they're hoping that somebody's going to buy their zipper, or their brand is sewing a zipper onto a piece of nylon, then NRA is not going to be useful for them at all. They're going to go here. But If it's somebody like that loader for ammo for the magazines, if they took it to SHOT Show, more than likely 20 people are going to walk by and figure out how they can do that tomorrow in their operation, right? Where if they go to NRA, they're talking to end users. So it's kind of depends on what you're talking about.
Okay, I got you. I get you.
how many facilities does SHOT Show actually take up and about the size. So the actual facility, I forgot, it's 11 acres indoors, I believe, and it's all stacked on top of each other like a dungeon. And that's 11 acres in a giant room with a kind of a weird kidney pool shape, and then an under, the basement level underneath of that is most of that, and then there's these giant additional rooms that SHOT takes up, and they permanently take up all of the large ones, which are, let's just say, 2-3 larger outside rooms, which are technically like 9, but that's only because there's walls going through the big rooms. And it's basically a giant room, the room underneath of it, and then 3 big other rooms. Then if you go up the stairs from the elevators or whatever, you start getting in all the huge rooms that I guess you'd call meeting rooms, and those are huge. They're larger than any room a gun show's ever going to be in, but they're tiny compared to the rest of SHOT. And those are where like the media room is set up in one of them, and the NSSF member room is set up in another one, so people who are members of NSSF have a place to go hang out. There's maybe a large manufacturer or industry or segment of the industry might take a room for an evening to do like an event, and it'll get torn down and be a different event the next night, and it'll be torn down and be a third event. So those rooms are kind of multi-use. I've seen those rooms used by these target places that'll like have like a giant elaborate target system with like lasers and projections, and you walk through like hallways of movie screens, and there's like videos of games that you're playing in 3 dimensions, and they're for like training SWAT units or something. Like those need all kinds of room to set up, so sometimes they'll take up those huge rooms upstairs. So it's the Sands Convention Center. I guess look up the stats for the Sands, and it uses every square inch of the Sands. Then really there's the external stuff, and that could be stuff like the media day, which happens at an entire huge range, the Boulder range, which is fairly large range. It'll also, at this point, SHOT Show spreads to private, invite only, maybe wannabe range days that are all around, and they can run from, I've been to those where you can't bring a camera and it's literally military only, and you're shooting the good stuff. Because this is the industry. So if a belt-fed something or another that fits on a helicopter needs to get sold, it gets sold at SHOT Show. They just don't invite a bunch of cameras to go look at that because they don't need that. They're going to bring the military units that are actually in the market for that. So those kind of events happen. Those are on Nellis, and those happen at some of the ranges that they're not talked about as much. Then there's just other manufacturers that couldn't get into the Boulder range and wanted to have people pull triggers on their stuff. They'll have their own shoots, so all these different ranges that are available, either the rental ranges or the just normal shooting range where people would shoot, they might get reserved. And then hotel rooms, convention center rooms, all kinds of things. Venues will pop up around town where somebody, again, who can't set up and SHOT because they can't get in or they don't have the money, they'll set up a big suite of hotel rooms, and they'll invite a bunch of people over and have like some sort of a product, touch and feel type of event. There's some events that happen, which is just people in the industry get together, a bunch of people get together who've been getting together for decades, and it's turned into a big event. There's some of those, some of customer appreciation type of things. A lot of those happen where, especially manufacturers in Vegas or people that have ties to Vegas, they know where to set up. So those kind of things are immeasurable. I don't know if anyone could even know about all the different events that happen. And that's, again, where trying to take it to like an Orlando would be pretty tough, I think, because now you'd pick up every little schoolroom and shooting range and pretty much backyard that's big enough to fit some people. When you get 65,000 people, they're probably more like 80,000 that actually show up for the event if you count the people, wives and others that aren't necessarily on the floor. Plus you count employees of all those places that showed up, the exhibitors, and now you send them out after hours. That's 80,000 people getting set loose on Vegas to go figure out what to do that night.
Yeah, in Vegas, it's easy.
It absorbs right into Vegas. It probably doesn't even really know that it's there. But some towns, that would just kill it, right? 80,000 people looking for what to do in the evening. They wouldn't be able to beat them.
Yeah. Yeah, you look at some smaller cities. Yeah, but imagine they showed up at Seattle.
All right, so we talked a bit about SHOT Show there, reminiscing. It's been fun, so hopefully people enjoyed that segment. We've been kind of going through the last years of SHOT Show over the last few weeks here, getting ready for next week. So let's not forget that SHOT Show happens every year. And for whatever reason, the ATF and the federal government decides to drop legislation down. I don't know if they just think it's funny or it's ironic or something, but on Thursday, the 25th, will be the last day for the ATF survey. So we'll transition into the next segment by talking about that survey. We have an opportunity to let our voice be heard. We can, let our voice be heard and be satisfied that we've voiced it and walk away, or we can use this as an opportunity when there's no tragedy, there's no violence that anybody's accusing anybody of. We're not justifying nothing, but instead we've got a quiet moment here that we can respond. We can respond as loudly as possible, and I suspect that if we were to do so, we would look less like a less lucrative target in the future. So we can either just all make our comments and be satisfied that they don't reclassify bump fires as machine guns, which I'm hoping is a given. But I'd also like to encourage people to get the word out and encourage, rally the troops. If you're creating content, what do you create content for? It's hopefully for reasons like this, so that when it's necessary, we can mobilize the troops, so to speak. We practice our shooting so that when we need to, we can shoot accurately. So we practice all these social media things. We have these daily shows and everything. I've manicured whatever audience I have out there so that when necessary, we can mobilize, and this is the time to mobilize. It's very easy. Go use the link in the description of this video. We'll drop it in the comments right now and encourage you to make the comment. Maybe go watch Military Arms Channel from yesterday, where he talked to the guy from the ATF who was an ex-ATF agent. Real good insight there as to the possible repercussions of this being passed, and some honest insight as to what the system is, what the procedure is on the ATF side when they do a survey like this. So we have a 30-day window. It ends on the 25th, which will be Thursday. Again, I'm encouraging everyone not just to participate in the comments, but also to get the word out there. Go to the gun shop, make sure the gun shop's aware of it. If they don't know about it, they've, no harm, no foul. If they've been told about it and they choose to do nothing and they choose to let all their customers come and go, then that's a choice they make. But let them make that choice and encourage them, that you've got an opportunity here to be part of a different type of dynamic. If we can make enough noise with this, I suspect that people would go, wow, that was neat. We made a difference. We told the ATF to go cram it. So perhaps we can use that same voice, that same momentum to bring back share, to get share off the shelf and see that get some coverage, and maybe get the debate about HR 38 happening with a spotlight on it. So there's potential for 2018 in more than just what new products or what new colors might be painted on stuff. And anyway, we'll put a link to the ATF survey there in the description, and we'll move on to the next topic. Jimmy's good at keeping the topic moving. Bob's not doing it tonight. So yeah, I think we're going to go to the gun shop for the day. So one of the things we do on a daily basis is talk about a new gun shop. What am I going to do? I think I have to pull this over here and then screen share it.
See, this is funny. When I saw this first in the show notes, I was like, Martinsville? What? I used to live near Martinsville. And then it's like, Indiana? No, they must have different Martinsvilles in different countries.
So am I screen sharing now?
Yeah, but it's pausing or something.
Yeah, I've got it paused. I just wanted to make sure I'm actually screen sharing. I have to do it weird when I've got the camera pointed at my other screen. All right, so like I said, when we do the show on the daily basis is talk about a gun shop every day. Here's today's gun shop. All right, I'll push the button. YouTube is hard. What the hell?
Management would like to apologize for the technical difficulties we're having at the moment.
Yeah, what the heck? How come I can't? No, it's froze up or something. So we'll wait for my computer. Am I still on the air?
Yes. Yeah. We're watching your computer buffer. It's scintillating entertainment.
Yeah. There's really more to the video than that, I hope. So we'll try it again here.
Okay. Well, let's keep going. I can keep talking. All right, here it is.
Next up on the Gun Show Loophole Tour is a place called Martinsville Guns. This is in Indiana. We found this one as we were heading south from Indianapolis towards a gun shop in southern Indiana, or a gun show in southern Indiana. And we found this shop with by its sign on the side of the road. So they had a big billboard out on the side of the highway. Thought that was great, so I pulled off the next exit, found the shop. I'm glad I did. It's a cool little shop, lots of little features that make it interesting. Obviously, it's a little what is the worst internet? Mom and pop type shop, and a lot of selection. They had some wooden stuff there, which is kind of cool. You'll see the dinosaur here.
Worst
a second, I thought it was
video
great.
Ever.
We talked to the guys for a bit, had a good conversation with them. Told them about the tour. They were down with it. They thought it was a great idea. And happy to be able to promote the shop. So if you've been to Martinsville Guns, leave us some comments below. And stay tuned for more shops on the Gun Show Loophole Tour. As always, thanks for watching.
All right, so that was horrible lag. And they're saying on the YouTube side that YouTube's been like this all day. So maybe they're going through their transition. So let's give them a little credit. Or a little
stop.
So this was a neat shop. Like I tried to say on the video there, I'm just driving around through Indiana, minding my business, and I see a billboard, like an old-fashioned real billboard on the side of the road. Not the giant ones up in the air, right? And it says, stop at this gun shop or something. So I did. And I pulled off the highway, and it was, a mile or two off the highway, maybe. Little cool shop like this. I don't know what. I think it was probably always a business. And they were kind of slow. It was the middle of the day. Saturday, I guess. Sad because I guess they should be busy on Saturday. Anyway, little shop, kind of an L shape, a little bit of everything, and you can see decent selection. You can see there's guns going all the way down there. They had a couple of little cool things like the Dillinger setup there, but they had these wooden guns, which I thought were neat, just kind of for no reason, just to have some kind of like those ones we saw in Tulsa, but a little more crude. But like obviously somebody had done these as a project or something. I don't think I'm going to get a good still of it here. Maybe I will. And yeah, just kind of neat thing to have. Anyhow, so I don't know how people are going to gone to this little place, Martinsville, but I think the last thing I thought was cool was having this Tyrannosaurus head. Man, am I breaking up, or is it just the video that's bad?
Pretty bad, actually.
Am I breaking up?
Yes,
Yeah.
You're breaking up.
All right, I'll quit screen sharing. Hopefully that'll save that a little bit, and I'll quit trying to play that video. Anyway, I thought that Tyrannosaurus with a rabbit or a possum in its mouth was pretty funny. Like a little kid or something that goes into the shop.
Yeah, I kind of like that too. That looks exactly like the kind of shop I'd love to go to. Right? I love the little shops like that.
It's a slow kind of shop where, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to assume nothing, but they had plenty of time to talk. They didn't seem stressed out. Sometimes you go into a little shop and you can just tell they're looking for some money. They need you to buy something. These guys didn't seem to be over pressured or nothing, and they were just interested in the tour. That's the neat part too. And on the tour, and I asked them if I could take pictures. Every once in a while, they'll ask why. I explain it to them, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool," and they kind of appreciated the concept. And again, that was before I was spending money at the shops and stuff. But that would have been perfect to buy something there. Maybe buy one of those wooden guns. So that's our gun shop of the day. And if you've got a shop that you'd like to recommend, especially when we get back out on the road, if you go over to gunshowloopholetour.com, we've got a link over there where you can suggest a shop. And if you ever want to suggest a shop that we'll mention on the show here, you can email us, dailygunshow@gmail.com. We're happy to include a new shop every single day. That's the whole point. Right. So
we talk about the gun of the day.
Okay, do we have a gun of the day?
Yeah, Smith & Wesson Model 915. Now it's an oldie but a goodie, right? It's what, 80s? Yeah, I think 80s. Semi-automatic Smith & Wesson 9mm.
915 was 92 to 94.
There you go. Yep.
All right, so it's
early 90s. But yeah, 9mm, 15 rounds. Classic old Smith & Wesson semi.
Yeah, I so prefer the older Smith & Wesson semi-auto design to like the M&Ps and stuff. I don't know why. I'm not a fan of the newer M&Ps.
So you like this over the M&Ps, in other words?
Yeah, that's just, to me, that's a Smith & Wesson semi-auto, you know?
I never was into guns during this time, or not these guns for sure. So I know there's definitely people out there that like them more than anything. I've never understood it.
But you know, I'm the same way about the Rugers. You know, the Ruger semi-autos. You know, I like the old P series stuff.
Yeah,
over the new stuff they're putting out.
But when you look back, like to me, like having the selector on the side seems weird and awkward, and I don't like it. But the Rugers are the same way, really.
Yeah.
What I find really interesting is like you could get it's really cool. Was the police actually liked it a couple years I had it, and it was killed by ban because then they had to go down to a 10-round magazine, so they made one called the 910 on the end of it because it's only a 9, so if you only got 10 rounds, like, well, what are you gonna do? Throw it to them? Throw it at them after you run out of stopping?
Well, they might as well if they're shooting 9mm, right?
Exactly. I mean, if you've only got 10 rounds, you might as well have a 45.
Well, it's got to shoot better out of a metal frame, I would think.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's a metal frame, so of course it's a much better gun than a Glock or something.
All right, so you picked that one for any reason or just random gun of the day?
Yeah, just random gun of the day.
All right, well, now we'll move into our movie of the day. Every day we try to come up with a gun-related movie. This one is, I guess, technically a gun-related movie, but we also try to pick something that you might not have seen or you might not have seen in a while, and I think that classifies, this one classifies for that a little bit better. I saw this one on Amazon, so whenever I watched it, I threw it in the list here. So it's called Clint Eastwood Breaking Steel. It was made in 2016. I don't know if there's any chance you guys have seen it.
Country about Clint Eastwood?
It's not really a movie. It's a movie about Clint Eastwood movies. So it's about, well, not so much like him directing. It's, I don't know, it's kind of a
documentary.
Hardly. It's more, yeah, kind of, I guess, but not a good one. Not like a Ken Burns or anything awesome. It's just sort of like, hey, well, let's make some money. Clint Eastwood makes money. Let's, license a bunch of clips or something and put them together. It's kind of like a thrown together effort. Anyway, we don't always necessarily feature good movies, but I figured I'd throw this one out there because I believe I was disappointed. I should probably start writing in there, but I guess I was putting this one out there as see if anybody else had seen it, and then maybe a warning, like it's not really worth the time.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
I've seen one on like John Wayne before that was pretty cool because it got into like just some interesting kind of DVD extras type of stuff about John Wayne movies, right? This I kind of thought would be like that, and I guess it was, but it was just poorly. It was just not that great. Like cold potatoes.
Yeah, I think I got through about a quarter of it, and then started skipping ahead, and then kind of went, eh.
Yeah, it's that kind of movie. Is it going to get better? No, it doesn't get better. And it's sad because it is a bunch of Clint Eastwood stuff. They just somehow managed to make it really boring. So a little bit different spin on the gun of the day. The same thing. If you want to suggest a gun of the day, we schedule the whole shows out on Monday. The first thing we do on Monday is schedule out a week of shows. So you can always jump in on a Monday and suggest shows, or anytime during any of the shows, really. But if you'd like to email us, dailygunshow@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to include some movies in there. We hit on movies quite a few times over the 500 episodes now, but always find some new ones in there too.
Yeah.
So relatively, he's asking, I'm streaming on 2 different YouTube channels. Would it be better to only stream on one for better stats? Oh yeah, definitely. But our Daily Gun Show channel has 700 subscribers or something, and the other one has quite a few more. But it's also the first day I got my live streaming back on the gun website site, so I'm doing it mostly just to do it because I can't do anything else today live. And this way I get to just exercise that muscle, which I haven't been able to exercise in 3 months. It's been annoying. And it was profitable. We already made $5 in super chats thanks to the Falling Hammer out in California. So I sacrificed the sites or the stats for $5. I'll do that every day.
There you go, man.
So let's see, where were we at with the show notes here? Saturday night specials, and where are we at with time? Oh, we're about 8 minutes left, so I don't know. It's up to you guys. We can talk about other stuff. Throw that one out again. Been going Saturday night specials for a long time, or just touch on them.
Let's just go on to the other stuff.
Huh?
Go on to the other stuff.
Looks like
Saturday night specials. I mean,
quick
them all the time.
Franklin Roosevelt was inaugurated today for his 4th term. 4th term.
He wasn't a nice guy either. Like, I watched a documentary on him, and yeah, he kind of brought Jim Crow laws back in and stuff.
1981, Reagan is.
Right.
1981, today in 1981, Reagan is sworn in as president. At the same time, 52 American hostages are released from their captors in Iran. Huh, coincidence? Huh.
Heck no.
Those were the days. So that's, I think, and that predates 1981. That predates most of the people listening, I suspect. Even me, I was a little kid back then, but it was recent enough history when I was a kid to get a little chuckle out of that.
I vaguely remember.
I remember that. The Canadian was a hero in that whole thing. Canadian
Always, right?
Helped a bunch of Americans escape.
All right. Well, let's see. So as far as other history, tomorrow is the 20th, and that'll be our 13th anniversary that we bought gun websites. Decided to start doing gun websites as a thing. We went to SHOT Show in 2005 for our first time as media, and decided instead of having just a bunch of individual websites, it was easier to have a hub, a place, a central place to send people and to do business out of. So we decided to call it Gun Websites. It's super original, and nobody else had it. And we've been doing business under that shingle for a while now. So that's our anniversary tomorrow. Thanks for everybody, because it's really not an effort in trying to get out there and be famous. It's just an effort in sharing gun stuff and real gun stuff, not what somebody's paying me to tell you or just frivolous garbage, you know, trying to keep Second Amendment interesting and valuable and encourage others. And over the years, can't even tell you. We've tried to, actually, I could mention, not screen share, I'm going to screen share real quick. On gunwebsites.com, we have a bit of history there I've been playing with off and on when I get bored. I'll go add to it a little bit and see if I can screen share the right way here. And if you head over to Gun Websites and click on that About Us, you'll see the history there. And all of our history is really just efforts and playing around on the internet and having communications with people, having conversations with people in different ways, and trying to share our interests, which are basically pro 2A and pro this country. So we like to go out and hunt and fish. We like to experience what's out there and meet people. And we share that on the internet. It's been fun to build the internet and build things along the way. And yeah, it's been neat. So it's a nice to look back once in a while. And tomorrow will be our 13th anniversary, I guess, under this shingle. I think we started officially in 1997, but kind of doing business as starts tomorrow.
Oh.
All right, with that, I guess we're blowing off the what do you call it? The Saturday Night Special thing, because Jimmy's not here. What, do we not have a quiz again?
I haven't heard no machine guns whistling through the breeze.
Yeah, that seems.
I do have my breaker on though.
See if I can't find something in here to do. Nope, I'm not gonna find nothing in there. Find anything in here?
And once again, we'd like to thank you for watching this scintillating, exciting Hey the Gun Show.
Yeah, seriously. So I guess what we'll do is one of these. We'll do something like this, and we'll do something like this. Oh, yeah, here, and this. Now, of course, there'll be a commercial probably.
So like,
What? There, no one saw that coming. What? All right. So,
What?
man, that snuck up on everybody.
that, yeah, so it's that time of the show when Jimmy should be doing his business when he's not here. So we're going to flip over to this screen. It's a visual Daily Pop Quiz. That means it's available for everybody who's watching on gun channels, on the Daily Gun Show YouTube channel, or over on the Gun Site's YouTube channel.
What
So
would be- can you maybe put the, no. I don't see anything in the Daily Pop Quiz.
yeah.
You have the answer in the intro.
Oh, you don't need it. It's a.
No? Okay. Well, somebody else can watch it. No. Don't know. I was just,
To the side, to the side chat. So anyhow, it's a visual. So you get to look at the screen, and if you're getting a bad picture because you're watching on the gun website side, then go over to gun channels. I don't even know why you're watching on YouTube. YouTube is bloated and dying. But anyway,
Yeah,
this is a visual pop quiz, and we will turn this on over here, and then slowly zoom out. And you guys are watching the comments.
the way Jimmy does it, he zooms out really fast.
Yeah, no, Jimmy goes from zoomed in to all the way out. 42 gun? No. Bayonet? No.
Egyptian AK bayonet? No.
It does say Suppressor Association for some reason. 42 gun? Mauser? No. Suppressor? No. Scabbard? No. Nothing? Suppressor? No. Mauser? Scabbard? This is going to be very
Flashlight.
a missile of some kind? Closer.
Getting warmer.
Warmer, hotter. Cane? Nope, it's not Bob's Daily Pop Quiz. An AK rocket? What does that mean? A mortar? Closer. A buffer tube? Nope. An E-tool? That's not even... No. What?
Dummy
I-
RPG?
You're seeing almost the whole thing. It's not a dummy RPG, no. It's not a bazooka round. Got one more run through the
Goodness.
here. 30 more seconds. Now you're seeing the whole.
Not a rifle grenade?
It is
Or is it NATO rifle grenade?
NATO. What? Where's who said this? What?
NATO.
Lawn dart? No.
Cycle Camp says NATO rifle grenade.
Gizzard
Oh,
says
NATO
pleasure.
rifle grenade. Oh, okay. I think that is going to be the first instance and the only instance of the actual answer. Very good. It is a dummy, or it's a dummy, but it's a rifle grenade for an AK. So this is what you stick on a Yugo AK's grenade launcher, like muzzle device. It's going to jam up into the back there, and you're going to put a blank in there, and it's going to shoot this thing across the football field. And then this is a practice one, so it's just a bunch of dead, basically same material out of a milk jug, and then a big rubber thing on the front so you can pick it up and keep using it. Usually buy these in a kit with a shaft, a couple of fronts, and then a whole bunch of the little fins in back, because those will start to break after a while. And yeah, big fun. So that was Cycle Camp on the Gun Channel side who won that one, correct?
Who? No, I thought it was General Relativity on.
It wasn't Cycle Camp. It says NATO rifle grenade.
NATO rifle grenade. Cycle Camp said.
Cycle Camp, yeah.
General
Cycle-
Relativity said rifle grenade.
Yeah, but he said rifle grenade way ahead of that. He just said NATO instead of NATO, but he
He
did.
still said rifle grenade though. Yeah.
Okay, Cycle Camp. Yeah, he said bazooka round. Then he said NATO rifle grenade, but that's
Correct.
NATO.
Okay, he said rifle grenade. I didn't say anywhere that it had to be a specific one. I don't even know if I know what type of rifle grenade it is. I think it's Bulgarian, but I don't know. So
Ed said AK-47 rocket, which
not a rocket though, so close, but it does jam on the front of an AK-47. All right, so we try to do one of those on every show. We're not normally going to rebroadcast it over on the Gun Websites channel, so thanks everybody who joined us over there today. I'm going to turn off that camera just because it's annoying. I forgot to do that. But then I can shut it down, so those people are now gone, and we're just us. Back to the gun channels and the Gun Show YouTube. And we're about done. So that means we'll be back on Monday. It'll be an interesting day because we're going to be by Monday, some things will have happened, such as we'll be in Las Vegas. We'll have gone to a gun show and bought hopefully a couple $100 worth of stuff for our Patreon supporters. We will have gone to a shoot on Saturday, potentially, on Sunday, potentially, on Monday, potentially. And I don't know who has shows on Monday. I guess Matt will probably have a show on Monday, and depending on if we're all together and sober and interested, we might all pile into that chat and ruin it. We like to do that at SHOT Show. And then if there's other shows on Monday, we'll do those. And then I'm sure that we'll be just doing this show on the regular throughout next week. We
should totally hijack the Geek podcast and talk about SHOT Show.
Yeah, or just talk about like Vegas movies. Think about movies that were in Vegas.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
something like that. And then I was gonna say we're gonna be doing our show all week. I don't know if Jimmy's gonna be back or not, but we'll. I think we might probably trash our schedule just a little bit, just because we'll be there and we'll talk about whatever's going on. We'll be on California time, so that'll only be 9 p.m. for us. And even with the people who got jet lag and stuff, I'm guessing at 9 p.m. they're not going to be that tired. So might have some guest hosts next week. Big fun. On the road is always fun. And appreciate everybody who's supporting the stuff on everything that we do and the other shows that are out there. All this content, we call it trickle-down content. When we go to these shows and get better, we show up on these other shows, and then they get better because we're there. So look forward to all kinds of better shows because of us. Going to SHOT Show.
All right.
All right.
Well,
we'll let Bob end.
What's going on tomorrow?
Oh, are we going to do a gear chat?
I don't know. What time are we doing the gear chat then?
Maybe, maybe not. We'll play that one by ear because I'll be walking around the gun show during your chat tomorrow. So we'll see.
Yeah,
maybe later.
Tomorrow's supposed to be like almost plus temperature, so I got to do some shit.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens with that. We'll see what happens with the van chat. We'll definitely be doing that on the road. It'll be awesome because we'll be in Las Vegas and doing all kinds of interesting things. Probably pop wheelies down the street. Cool like that. But otherwise, we'll be back.
Yeah, you got Travis P11 in the morning, Caliber Corner. Rick's Life as I See It will be midday, and then possibly Tardot in their show Saturday evening.
Oh, awesome. And then, of course, Moon and Semeki do a show on Saturday. Semeki will be in Vegas, so that'll be a good one.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Also, want to thank everybody for the thumbs up over on the YouTube side. Looks like we got only 2-3 people stealing it, so appreciate that.
Wait a minute, one of them might be me.
Come on.
Oh no, I did. No, I thumbed it up.
It's like the ante. When we come in, we are supposed to ante up a thumb.
I usually do. Sometimes I forget. I have to go back later. All right. Well, let's wrap this thing up. We always do it with a quote. Before that, I'd like to remind everybody, please like, share, subscribe. If you can, support us on Patreon. We'd love to get the support. On that note, our quote today is by Abraham Lincoln, who I might add was a Republican who freed all the slaves. Apparently, he was a pretty good guy. He did like to wrestle. That's why he said it, wrestle. Oh, well. So, the philosophy of the schoolroom in one generation will be the philosophy of government in the next. Ooh. That's a scary thought, isn't it, with what they're teaching the kids in school today? Ooh. On that note, I'd like to thank everybody for watching and listening, and we'll see you all tomorrow, Monday.
Guys and gals of GunWebsites.com encourage you to take a CCW class every year. Practice at least once a month and carry every day. Thanks for watching gunwebsites.com.